Okay, welcome everyone. I'm John Foran. I'm co-organizer of this virtual conference here at UC Santa Barbara, The World in 2050, Imagining and Creating Just Climate Futures with Ken Hiltner. And I do think of us as a community, at least a community in the making, who are involved in this wonderful experiment together. And I look forward to our interaction during the 3 weeks that the conference is open for comments and beyond. Who knows what's going to happen? I'm immensely excited about the possibilities. The virtual conference aspect is hugely important to us, and here I want to give full credit to my partner and co-organizer, Ken Hildner, who is really the architect of the virtual conference in an academic setting, who conceived it and overcame many a technical issue to make it possible to do this and to open it to the world. And indeed, this is the second such conference, to our knowledge, ever done in this way. You can think of me as the chief cheerleader of this revolutionary concept. The idea that we would actually, as academics who work on issues related to climate change and environment, that we would actually walk the talk of the realities of climate change, and that we would model this and offer it freely to others. As the conference introduction says, we believe that a conference that takes up the issue of climate change while simultaneously contributing to the problem to such a degree through airfare, through aviation and airfare, because it costs a great deal of money that most people don't have to organize such a conference, is simply unconscionable. The theme, The World in 2050, Imagining and Creating Just Climate Futures, matters a lot to us. It comes from our Critical Issues in America program for 2015 and 16. This larger program, of which this conference is the culmination, is on the theme of climate futures. This changes everything. And Ken and I, with many others here at UCSB, faculty, graduate students, undergraduates, undertook this about a year ago because we think there's no more critical issue faced by the world, by humanity, let alone America, than our climate future. And both Ken and I have devoted the last half decade or more to signaling this across the humanities and the social sciences, and as far as possible, beyond them. Again, to read from the self-introduction to this conference, the most pressing existential issue of the 21st century for humanity as a whole is the increasingly grim reality of climate change and our entry into a new era in the history of humans and the planet, well signified by the term the Anthropocene. The changing conditions of life on Earth lie at the center of a storm of interconnected crises, which include, among others, the precarity and the great inequality that the global economy drives, a widening deficit of political legitimacy, which one need look no further than the current American election season of 2016, and cultures scarred by violence, from the most intimate interpersonal interactions to the most global realities of war making. But we go on to say, unlike either the justifiably pessimistic critical discussions or the unrealistically optimistic policy approaches that increasingly confront or indeed ignore each other around the climate crisis, this conference will depart from our present ground zero by asking participants to experiment with perspectives on the multiple possible states of the world in mid-century and to work back toward the present in an attempt to imagine, envision, ultimately enable, and to collaboratively find or create some of the pathways to a more just or just less worse outcome for humanity by 2050. So what's going to happen at this conference? Actually, I don't know, and so much is up to you, to all of us, and to many others. You, the audience, traditionally speaking, are more than that. You are direct participants in the conversations that we hope these talks will start. So please involve yourself with all the passion and imagination and creativity and loving activism that you can bring to this, making it fun as well as serious. There are some 50 talks organized into 17 panels, covering such topics as oceans, cli-fi, climate fiction, cities, agriculture and food, technology, climate action, climate justice, and many others, often intersecting, since this changes everything means that everything affects everything else. And part of the challenge is to figure out how and to use that knowledge strategically to change ways, to change things in ways that ripple outward, long and slow, or sudden and flashingly. You create a new word. There's far from enough diversity, and no doubt that is our fault in this conference, and the early stages of doing this kind of conference in ways that permit full activation of its deeply democratic potential. And I feel this. We do, someone pointed out, have speakers from 6 continents, and with any luck, we'll have participants from all 7, if not also from the non-human world, which is our partner in this adventure. We do have sponsorships from all major plant and animal groups, by the way. We have some great keynote speakers, and I want to thank each of them. Bill McKibben. I'm not going to try to introduce each of these people. They're all extremely significant to me, and I hope you'll enjoy what they have to say. Bill McKibben, Margaret Klein Salomon, Eric Asadurian, Patrick Bond, Wen Stevenson. All of them have had a major impact on me as a scholar, as an activist, as a person, a thinking and feeling person. We also have 2 featured panels, one that Ken has put together on this very topic of the movement toward getting academics to fly less, and one that I've put together on the idea that we need something akin to a wartime mobilization effort at this point in the climate crisis. So let the discussion begin, and may it unfold far and wide and deeply. We look forward to hearing from you, and I feel immense gratitude that you've joined us so that we may inspire and learn from each other, and ultimately act together to imagine and create the world we want. Thank you again, and welcome.